Hello friends, and thank you for joining me today. This video is all about experimentation and trying out different techniques to paint this beautiful flower. I will be using some of these tiny sponges and cotton buds, watercolors, golden watercolors, also called metallic watercolor, gouache paint, which is also known as opaque watercolor and is thick in consistency, watercolor pencils. So when you draw with these, the pigments will be reactivated with water afterwards. And of course, some brushes. For paper, here I have a Aquapad watercolor paper pad, 300 GSM thick, non-cotton, and pretty affordable. These are in A4 size, so I have to divide them into smaller pieces and use a canvas board to tape them on it. And some synthetic brushes in different sizes. I'm using these ones from Winsor Newton. And for the colors, I have a lemon yellow, cadmium yellow, which is a warmer tone, and some yellow ochre for shading. So as you can see, I use lemon yellow for the first layer. It's the lightest yellow I have. Then I apply shading with a tiny bit of yellow ochre and cadmium yellow. Let them dry and then fill in the spaces in between with the yellow ochre. So I go a bit darker this time. This way I create a sense of depth and layering. And make sure to let everything completely dry before painting in the green details, because we don't want the greens and yellows getting mixed and create this muddy effect. Now it's time to paint in the leaves, and I have a more stylized or abstract approach for this one. For the next painting, I'm using watercolor pencil. I just draw the shapes with some spaces in between and then spray over with clean water. This way the pigments reactivate and spread across the wet area. You can lift them up if it's too much with a paper towel. While it's still wet, you can paint over and add shades, both with colored pencils and with the brush. And yeah, I mainly tried this technique to see if I can achieve that very fluffy look that these flowers have when they are fresh. Now mine has dried, so you can't really see that. I'm not sure if I could achieve that look, but it was definitely a very fun way to paint. Also, I have to mention that this way of spraying maybe is not very popular technique. It's just something that I wanted to try out, but from what I have seen from other artists, they usually use these colored watercolor pencils to draw the shapes they want, and then use a clean wet brush to spread the paint, similar to traditional watercolors. Anyway, this is something that I have to give a bit more exercise and learn. For this next painting, I want to create a blue background. First, I wet the whole surface with clean water, then apply some of my ultramarine turquoise all over the page. Let it spread and just dry it with my heating tool or hair dryer. Next, I will use these gouaches and cotton buds as a sponge to paint. And again, I wanted to see if I can achieve that furry, fluffy look. And never trying these tools before, I thought that was a great experiment, although maybe it wasn't really the look I was after, but the process was very fun. For this next painting, I repeat the same process to make the background as the one before. Then using a darker blue, indigo in this case, I paint in the leaves and the stems. So in contrast to the one before, this time these parts will be darker than the background. For the flowers, I paint them in gold watercolors and try to achieve a more stylized, abstract look this time. So I take the abstraction sort of a step further with each one. And finally, time to paint the last one. This time I use a colored pencil. It's not a watercolor pencil, just a regular colored pencil, to sketch the main shape. So I draw before I paint this time. Draw using the colored pencils and then fill it in with watercolors. Now I repeat the same process for painting the flowers, where I first put down the lemon yellow, or lightest yellow, and then add shadows to one side of the shapes using the yellow ochre and cadmium yellow. So one thing I'm doing here is that I dry the first layer and then darken or add shadows with the yellow ochre one more time to get more intensity. And after everything has dried, I paint in the greens. I really hope that this video have inspired you to try out different techniques and tools to come up with your way of painting and your style. I think it's a very good practice to just pick one topic and try to paint them in different ways. And thank you again for being with me today. If you enjoyed watching, please give it a thumbs up to support the channel. And I hope to see you in the next one.